Can I be real with you for a second? If you feel like you're falling behind, like you're late on your purpose, late in motherhood, late in your business, I want to tell you, hear me loud and clear, you are not late, you are not falling behind, you are being built. And today I want to help you shift that mindset. I am so excited for you guys to be here today watching this video. This is the very first episode of the Mom Reset. And this is going to be a place where you can come every week to pause, breathe, and realign every single Monday. Whether you're feeling overwhelmed, whether you're feeling unseen, whether you just need just a little bit of motivation, we're going to be talking about real life, real motherhood, real faith. And so if you've been needing a place to come to reset every week, this is the place for you. Now that we have the introduction out the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into the very first episode, which is going to be about how you are being built. You are not falling behind, you are being built. And so we're going to first start off talking about God's timeline, how it looks so much different than ours, okay? God's timeline, it works with patience. It's very much purpose driven, and it's like this overall big picture, which is going to be our spiritual growth. But with the world,
it's like fast paced, I need it now, immediate results, that microwave society.
God don't work like that. A good example that, of course, I'm going to use is motherhood, because this is the Mom Reset. One thing is milestones. So when we think about our kids and how they're supposed to meet these milestones, sometimes we feel like they're falling behind, like they're delayed or whatever the case may be. I know personally I have felt like that. I can give you a good example. I can clearly remember it to this day. We were at this restaurant and there was this little boy and he was sipping out of a straw and he was giving the colors of the crayons and all the things. And we thought he might have been like a year or two older than Junior, because he was just so well developed, if I should say. And so when we was talking to the parents, they was like saying his age, and it was literally the same age as our son. And so I immediately was like, oh my God, is he behind? Like, he doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to drink out of a straw. He doesn't know his colors and all the things like that. And so I immediately went into my child's behind. But that's not always the case. And we know as mothers that's not always the case. But we get in our head and we just feel like our child's behind. Another very good example as mothers is how sometimes we feel like we're late to our purpose or late to our calling, like we missed our moment, like maybe we should have did this before we had our kids, and now we feel like, oh, now that we're a mom, that it's too late to get started. But we know that God doesn't operate like that. God's timeline is so much different. His timing is so much different. He works in divine alignment. And what divine alignment is where like your actions and your thoughts and your beliefs, they all come into like God's purpose for your life. And so to ensure that you are staying in divine alignment with God, you should be walking at the pace of grace. And the pace of grace is slow. Like, let's just be real. It's where you're going to slow down and you're going to walk in God's timing, because God's timing, sometimes we can be miles ahead. Like, let's say we're 3 miles ahead, God's back here. And so we're thinking that things are supposed to be happening way up there, but we haven't even got what we needed back here. And so we have to learn to walk at God's pace, which is the pace of grace. As moms, I feel like we have this like unspoken pressure to be perfect, like to have it all together. Like, people expect us to be happy, to be productive and have everything together, look well presentable, and have 8 hours of rest. And we know that's not reality, but it makes us feel like we need to have that, and to be able to keep up with that mentality, we need to really kind of like live in a hustle culture. And the hustle culture is like, again, like that fast pace, like relentless work, doing everything we can to stay ahead, just way too much. Again, we have to learn how to live at the pace of grace. And that is, again, living at a slower pace, living in a spiritual rhythm, a spiritual tempo. We have to learn to not be driven by anxiety or like pressure, but to just relax and let God handle it. Let God's goodness guidance. And you know I have to give you an example, and the perfect person for that is Jesus. Jesus is the perfect example for everything. Jesus was never in a hurry. Did you ever notice that? Jesus really was the perfect example of pace of grace. He was never in a hurry. He walked everywhere he went. And a good example of that is like when he was walking and the lady with the issue of blood grabbed his, like the bottom of his coat, and he stopped and he wanted to know who grabbed his garments, right? The people that was with him was like, no, we need to go. And he's like, no, I want to know who grabbed me. Like, it don't matter how fast everybody else was going. He took his time. He did what he needed to do. Never in a hurry. He, again, walked everywhere. He could have got on a donkey. He could have did everything else, but he decided to walk everywhere and he took his time. Another example of Jesus is that he found time to rest. A good example of that is when they were on the boat and he was resting. They had to run down there and get him and tell him that all this stuff was happening. But Jesus was going to rest now. He was going to rest. And that's something that we don't do, whether mother or not. We really don't know how to rest in this day and age because, again, hustle culture, we need to get up, we need to get moving, we need to go. Another thing that Jesus did that I love, that he always made sure to find time to get away and pray. The biggest example of that for me that I can remember is during the time where it was time for, his crucifixion or whatever. He went away. He asked, the disciples to come with him and get away while he needed to pray. That was like the biggest example. But there are so many examples in the Bible of him getting away to like a long time to pray. And he always, always, always found time to connect with people. Like, again, the lady with the issue of blood, stopping to heal people, going to the churches, things like that. He always made time to connect with people. I know Jesus wasn't a mother, but Jesus is the example for all of us. And so I feel like that we need to look at Jesus as that example, to slow down, make sure we're spending time with God, making sure we're finding time to rest, making sure we're finding time to just make that connection, that overall connection. And sometimes as mothers, we feel like our spiritual life or life in general is just being put on hold, but in reality, we're just growing. A big thing that we need to remember is that purpose is a process. And I like to correlate purpose with driving. When it comes to life, we don't need to be in a race. We need to be taking a road trip, right? And so motherhood is not going to be a detour on this road trip. It's going to be part of the journey. And sometimes on road trips, you're going to hit traffic, right? And for us as mothers, traffic looks like maybe tantrums, maybe sleepless nights, maybe your child's not sleeping through the night, maybe you're feeling stuck. Like, it could be anything, but you're not exempt from traffic. It's gonna happen. And just like when we're in traffic, we never know what's going on ahead of us. It's going to be the same thing. We never know why God has slowed us down. It could be to check your heart posture. It could be to deepen your faith. It could be to learn how to stretch your patience. It could be anything, but we have to trust that God is in control. Just like a GPS, right? When we put on our GPS, we trust that our GPS is going to take us where we need to go. And if we miss a wrong turn or make a wrong turn, we're going to trust that our GPS reroutes us and it's still going to get us there, right? Same thing with God. God can see the whole map. Just like the GPS can see the whole map, God can see the whole map. And so we have to trust that God can see those things and that God is guiding us in the right direction, even if we're being rerouted or we feel like God's making a wrong turn. God can see the whole thing. Another big thing is for us to not compare. It is so easy to look around at other people, especially on social media. I know I'm good for it. Going on TikTok, I follow so many stay-at-home moms, and I am good for like looking at their life and looking at how their house looks and looking at how everything just seems like it's well put together, and then looking at my life and thinking, oh my God, like, I am not put together at all. I am not doing well as a mom. Like, those are the things that will creep into our minds. But what we need to know is that we don't know what's going on the other side of that camera. Like, we only know what they show us. So there's no need to compare. Just remember that your story, your speed, and your growth are uniquely yours. Now, here's what I want you to do. Focus on progress and not perfection. I want you to take small steps and just focus on showing up. I'm going to give you 4 ways to do that. The first one is going to be a morning reset. This is going to require you to slow down and incorporate God into your day and to help you set your day at the pace of grace. A morning reset could be, getting up 10 minutes early and just making sure that you have time set aside for you. Whatever you want to do in that 10 minutes, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's get you a cup of coffee, just having some alone time to meditate, whatever that is, but make sure that you find time to have a reset in the morning. The second thing is going to be letting one thing go. This is going to require you to reject perfectionism. So this could look like if you didn't get to washing the dishes for the day, that's okay. Let it go. You can get it tomorrow. There are different things that we do that we try to make it look like we have it all together. We don't have to do that. Again, moving at the pace of grace, moving a little bit slower, and just learning how to move in progress and not in perfection. And number 3 is going to go hand in hand with the last one. This is going to be to set boundaries and give yourself some grace. This is going to require you to say no, and again, give yourself grace when things don't go the way that you expect them to go. And the last thing, number 4, is going to be every week I want you to write down your proof of progress. This is going to require you to have some self-reflection and just look at your overall growth. And sometimes we don't notice that we're growing, but when we write it down and we go back and reflect and look over it, we can see that we're doing better than we were. God just wants us to be faithful. He's not looking for a finished product. He just wants to see that we're faithful to him and that we're working on just being a better person and being who he's called us to be. And the last big thing is I want you to learn how to speak life over yourself, okay? There's so much power in our tongue. And I know that I've spoken about this before. There was a speaker that I saw at a women's conference, and she talked about how we sometimes allow people to say negative affirmations over ourselves. Like there is a such thing as negative affirmations. And so sometimes even we can have negative affirmations over ourselves. And so I want you to start replacing those negative affirmations with positive affirmations. So when you're thinking to yourself or you're saying to yourself, I'm not doing enough, you can change that with, yes, I am. I'm doing enough because I'm showing up. Or if you're thinking to yourself, I'm falling behind, you can change that to, I'm not behind, I'm being built. You may think that God's disappointed in you, but you change that thought to God's grace covers me and it carries me. Or you might say to yourself, I've missed my moment, but change that to, it's never too late to walk in God's purpose. God never wastes anything. So if you feel like you're behind, just remember that you are not behind. You are not falling behind. You are being built. You are on a road that requires progress and not perfection. I hope that I was able to encourage you today. This was again my very first episode of the Mom Reset. And I just really want to start off with some motivation because we're going to need it. We definitely need it as mothers. And so don't forget that, again, it's a series. We'll be here every Monday. Make sure you come back next Monday to see us. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Let me know down in the comments how you're going to work on that this week, okay? Okay? Okay. Bye.